Check 1 2 3. Check 1 2 3. 1 2. Test 1 2.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be about ready to start. If you'd be so kind, we appreciate it. Thank you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for coming this evening. You've already taken an important first step in your child's future instrumental music education. Thank you so much. My name is Craig Poissant. I'm the band teacher at Huthroyd Elementary. To my left, to your right, is Mr. Michael Robertson. He is the band director at Keggabine Elementary. And to my right, your left, is Mr. Edward Lonergan. He is our district's elementary strings teacher. And it is our pleasure to have you here this evening and to see so many students who must be so excited to get started. And I can tell you we are equally as excited to get them started. Tonight's presentation is going to give you a brief outline of our district's elementary band and strings program. And we'll also provide you an opportunity to get signed up for summer lessons if you're interested, and just general registration information as well. Before I go too far, I do want to take a moment to introduce our faculty, some of which are here, and others of which are on a trip with our 7th and 8th grade band and orchestra and choruses at Darien Lake, and they send their regrets. First, I'd like to introduce Mr. John Reed, the director of our high school bands. He is unfortunately home with a sick child this evening. Mrs. Sarah Russo, our 7th and 8th grade band director and 6 through 12 music department coordinator, is one of the ones on the music field trip to Darien Lake. Dr. Hughes is in the front foyer right now, helping us out, passing out the remainder of the packets. And I introduce you to Mr. Robertson, myself, and Mr. Lonergan, and finally Mr. Matthew Ells is our 6 through 12 high school string orchestra teacher, also on the field trip today. I'd like to invite one other person to this podium before we get started, and this is a first-hand experience from a student, Evan Pickering, who is currently a senior in the high school and plays the viola. And we're so honored that he'd join us here this evening and just give you a first-hand experience of what he has had here in Grand Island in our music department. None of this is anything I know what he's going to say, so away we go. Evan Pickering, please.
Hello everyone, my name is Evan Pickering, as I said. I was asked to talk to you all about the music program we have at Grand Island and how it has become a part of me and shaped me as a person. In my household, my 2 younger siblings and I were expected to participate in a music ensemble by our parents. However, this expectation was more so a guideline because each of us had no problem in joining an ensemble. When I was a 3rd grader and first came to the auditorium to select an instrument, my heart was set on the cello. Now, that is not quite what happened, because when I heard someone play the Star Wars theme on the viola, an instrument that I didn't know existed, it was put at number 1 and the cello was bumped to number 2. As Darth Vader would have put it, the force is strong with this one. After 2 years in elementary school with Mrs. Ells, I moved into middle school, where I would be with Mr. Ells for the next 7 years of my musical career. What made this so great is that he also loved Star Wars. Early on as a child, I was a perfectionist. I mean, why do something unless you can be guaranteed perfection? Well, that's something I was wrong about. As a young musician, I aspired for perfection and nothing less. If I couldn't be great, then I shouldn't play. But in a moment of fear and fright of failure, Yoda said to me, the greatest teacher failure is. From that moment on in life, I worked with my failures to become better. And this was only made possible through my experience with music. Every challenge that I faced from then on was not whether I would succeed or fail, but rather what lesson I could take away from my experience. This would continue on throughout middle school and high school. As a high school student athlete, I played both soccer and football at the varsity level for 3 years, as well as soccer outside of school. In the meantime, I also challenged myself with a variety of honors and AP courses. On top of that, I chose to participate in pit orchestra for our musical. This may have been one of the best decisions I have made. Not only because of the exciting music we got to play, but because of the time management skills it taught me. Never in my life had I needed more time towards a single practice than learning to play the violin because the viola part was not provided for the musical. One odd thing did happen though. My time management skills became one of my biggest strengths. As a result of my overhaul in school activities, I was able to apply similar skills of success to my academics. I am proud to say that lessons learned from being a part of so much in school, like music, has enabled me to finish in the top 10 of my graduating class, along with multiple other band and orchestra students. In the face of this multitude of activities and challenges, odds may not have been great, but as Han Solo would have said, never tell me the odds. Never. Never should we be told that something is unlikely, because anything is possible if you're willing to put in the work and dedicate yourself to the challenge. One thing I will never forget is the mantra hanging on the orchestra room wall. It goes something like this: I will play the note perfectly, or I will not play the note at all. A similar quote that it reminded me of sounds like this: do or do not, there is no try. In the context of an ensemble, we are a team. To do is to play with purpose and strive for a sound that strengthens the team as a whole. If you can't, then listen. Play when you can support the team, and don't if you can't in order not to hurt the sound. There is no pessimism to this idea because either way you are helping the team. To me, this carried over to success in sports. For example, during this past season for the varsity soccer team, I was a starting defender. During the season, I sustained an injury that prevented me from playing my best, so to help the team, I sat to recover. By the time sectionals rolled around, I was ready to go and help my team again. If it wasn't for the lessons I've learned from playing an instrument, I wouldn't have been able to do so with such grace. In athletics, I've had all league nominations, sectional championships, and student athlete rewards, all because of the idea that we must do anything to help our team and nothing to hurt them. In the end, most sports are team sports, and we are playing to win together and not as one, just as we perform a concert together and not as an individual. Stick with me this lesson, forever it will. In just a month, I will be walking across the stage at Kleinhand's Music Hall for graduation. My accomplishments in high school are what will get me there, but at the base of success is the support and guidance of those around me and the experiences that I've had. The gratitude that I have for the music program is unending, and the help of parents and teachers are what have made me grow as an individual along the way. It is now upon you all to teach and guide your Padawans as you watch them mature into the future Jedi Masters they will become. I would like to thank you for bearing through my corny Star Wars references, and may the Force be with you.
Thank you, Evan. We appreciate that. I did want to say, I talked to Mr. Reed previously, our high school band director, and I just asked him a few numbers to supply with you. And it evokes a question of the chicken and the egg, what works in which way? Is it music that makes you smarter? Is it the smarts that makes you a better musician, and so on and so forth? But I would like to share these numbers. Out of 39 students in our high school wind ensemble, so that's just in his band, 4 of them were in the top 10 of their class. 30 play at least one varsity sport. 23 play 2 or more varsity sports. 25 participated in the high school musical. 33 have at least one AP in their schedule, and 25 of them have 2 or more AP level courses in their schedule. I think it's important to note that it's not an expectation that these students are at the top of their class, but it is interesting to note that these students do everything and they do it well. And we hope that your children find a similar experience here on Grand Island, being part of our music program and part of our instrumental music program. A quick description of our program. The opportunity for a specialized training and performance on an instrument is unlike any other skill. I will say this to my dying breath. I think, and I truly believe, that participating in music education, specifically in instrument music education, is one of the hardest things your sons and daughters will do during the course of a school day. It engages more of their brain than any other subject matter and furthers their education beyond what they think is possible or what you think is capable. Our program itself is a 40-minute small group lesson during the school day that works on a rotating basis. Those rotations take place so that the student is placed on a lesson day of the week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday. And each week that day will not change. If Johnny has a lesson on Monday, that lesson will be Monday every Monday for the entire school year. However, the time of that lesson instruction will change from week to week so that Johnny doesn't have to miss the same coursework in his day from week to week. That rotational schedule depends on the school. My school schedule allows for 6 lessons in the rotation, and Mr. Robertson has 7 in his. Mr. Lonergan, per district, per school, has either 6 or 7 as well to mirror both myself and Mr. Robertson. Concepts taught are tone, rhythm, technique, and music reading. These are the fundamentals and the basics of music in all. And each instrument is unique in its tone and fundamentals that are taught. Ensembles that we have are held after school, that are large ensembles for both band and orchestra. These days of the week are traditionally Tuesdays and or Thursdays, depending on where your child is in our program at the time. For me specifically, beginners have a selected day per semester in which they will come 3 to 4 times in a semester. And as 5th graders, those students come more frequently on both Tuesdays and Thursdays after school with late bus transportation provided. Yes, please.
Before Mr. Poisson continues, I just want to interject. For those of you who are Youth Road parents, whether it's strings or band, that is Tuesday and Thursday, as Mr. Poisson stated. At Kagabine, it is Monday and Wednesday for those days. And the same schedule, a few days here and there for brand new beginners, and then as the year progresses, you meet more frequently. And the reason why we are on different days is so that, number one, Mr. Lonergan can be in 2 places at once. He can't, he needs to go back and forth between the 2 buildings. He's indispensable that way. And the other reason is so that your child can also participate in chorus if he or she wants to. We have many of our current 3rd graders who have done chorus, which is wonderful at either building, and Mrs. Sugar and Mrs. Mitchke are wonderful teachers. We would love for your children to continue in chorus, and they can do both because chorus and orchestra and band do not meet simultaneously. Your child will be able to do both.
So as I said, we have a rotating schedule. Each lesson group is thoughtfully designed so that your child can be in a group with students who are of like instruments, so they're being taught the same material, and also so that students can be placed at a similar ability level, so we don't have one student who is flying through and another student might be struggling in a way, or vice versa. You know, what I find a lot is that one thing a student does well might be something that another student may not do as well, but then that other student may do something else incredibly well. For instance, reading music, but they're struggling in making tone production, or vice versa. We try to group our students so that they're all moving at a similar pace so that they all can move at the same time to new material. As I said, the concepts taught, as you can see up on the board, are tone, rhythm, technique, and music reading, basic fundamentals of making music on an instrument. And just to note that the after-school schedule is from 3:05 to 3:55. For many of you, you may have experience at Youth Road with 3rd grade chorus. There may be some other late after-school activities that students have been in participation in at both Youth and Kagabine. If you have experience with the late buses, it's a wonderful thing that we have on Grand Island. We also allow for parents to come and pick up their child after the late bell rings at 3:55 as well. We take great pride in offering several additional opportunities at the elementary school. Mr. Robertson and myself both have jazz band that takes place for 5th graders and sometimes 4th graders in Mr. Robertson's case. That's before school as well. We talked already about after-school band that takes place. And one thing to note is that though your sons and daughters may not know how to even open up the instrument case today and may not know how to do that until September, our first concert, Mr. Robertson and I, is in December, the first week. Mr. Lonergan's first concert is in January, within the first week back to school. And so in 3.5 short months, your child will be participating in a concert here on this stage here at Grand Island in front of you, all your family members and friends, and they will be playing with good sound, recognizable tunes, and we're excited to share that with you, and they will be oh so excited to share that with you as well. There are some responsibilities that come with playing an instrument, like practicing. If you look at the second sheet in your packet, we do have some parent responsibilities that we would like to share with you that we think will set your child up for success. I'm going to invite Mr. Robertson up to the microphone to take you through the first 3 or 4 here, just so you can hear someone else's voice.
Thank you, sir. And then Mr. Lonergan will split this up, if that's okay. Number one is to provide your child with a good quality instrument. Very, very important. You want an instrument that's not breaking down or going into the shop. We have lists of instruments that are on our approved list, and if you ever have a question about that, please let us know. An old instrument is fine. There are lots of older instruments, like Great Uncle Henry's trumpet might be just fine. Bring it in, we'll check it out and make sure it's fine for you and your child. You want to set a goal for your child to practice at least 20 minutes each day, 6 days a week. Very important to get in that routine. There are, if you want to do some quick math, there are 1,440 minutes in a day. No, I can't calculate that. I'm not Rain Man. I looked it up. I calculated it. And we're just asking for 20 of those 1,440 minutes. We hope you can squeeze that in for your child. And that's not only for retention, it's mostly for the physiology of the instrument. You just need to spend time with whatever instrument to get accomplished at it and comfortable with it. Number 3 is to provide a music stand for your child. Your child will have music stands at school. You don't have to buy one of those $60 metal stands that are all around here. You know the ones I mean. You can get a $15 or some are even less, depending on how much they may or may not have been tariffed. You can find them easily and just fold them up and take them in and out, and they're very, very easy and they work fine. It's so much better than sitting on the edge of your bed or sitting on a desk chair looking down. It just helps reinforce the good posture and everything that we do in our lessons. You want to provide a corner, I'm on number 4 now, you want to provide a corner of the house where your child can keep a chair and a music stand set up. Just a little, if you can find one, just a nice little space. And it can even be in the child's room, just a little space. And don't think of it as the timeout corner. It's just a nice musical space for your child's personal space to make music. And I'm going to let Mr. Lonergan do our last 8, or our last 4, please.
All right, the next thing for parents, how to help your child succeed, we talk about finding a regular time to practice every day, incorporating into their homework routine. They're coming home and doing their math or their reading or whatever else they get from their other teachers. Find that time, 15, 20 minutes, also for some instrument practice, and that way they're going to be able to build on the skills we're doing in school and succeed on their instrument. Listen to your child practicing their instrument. They're going to be playing tunes that you recognize, hopefully, and and making good tone. And that's the kind of thing that Mr. Poisson was talking about. That's one of our big focuses. They're coming in squeaking and crackling. We're talking about that in class. If you bring that up as a parent and say, hey, could you maybe not squeak as much? They're probably going to have a technique that we've talked to them about to help them do that, or bring it into us next time and we can help them with that, because that's not how we want them to sound. For the band, I know they do these practice slips to record practice time. I send home a list of what exercises or songs that we're working on that week, so you will have something to help guide their practice as well of what should they be playing. And then, the most important is to help your child remember to bring their instrument and music to school for their lessons on their lesson day, like Mr. Poisson said. That'll be the same day of the week, every week, so hopefully that gets into their routines pretty quickly.
Just a couple of add-ons. You're going to become very good at explaining or saying to your child very creatively how they sound. Of all the things you've played, that sure was one of them. Or boy, that doesn't sound like a dying cow anymore. Congratulations. Whatever it is, any words of encouragement that you give your child is leaps and bounds far more important than anything we can say. And so in that regard, if you are willing to just make some small comments here and there, encouraging comments, children love that from their parents, from their brothers and sisters, and then we at school obviously are going to continue to be positive and push them further and further as well. Of course, the students have their own set of responsibilities that you can imagine what they would be. It's as simple as coming to your lesson on time, please, where our teachers, classroom teachers, are fantastic about coming up with strategies for all students to remember their lesson times and to come at their time. Having their instruments, their music, their practice slip, and a pencil for every single lesson is one of the things that I stress every single week, because coming prepared is how we do our very best. And then just working hard to do their best and make their best sounds possible. And I believe truly that with our teaching team here on Grand Island, that they will sound really, I think, pretty remarkably good, just not too far in, 2 or 3 months in time for that very first concert. Phone calls happen, and they're not always bad, folks. Sometimes Mr. Robertson, myself, and Mr. Lonergan love to share good news with you, and we plan on doing that as much as possible. And sometimes phone calls are not always positive, and it's meant to help encourage the child to continue to do their very best. We'll continue to communicate with you in many different ways. I send out emails and remind messages. If you're not a member or part of that Remind app, I would encourage you to do that in the future when we send those out, because it's a way that I enforce communication beyond the traditional letter sent home and email sent out. So it's just another line of making sure we're all on the same page. If you're anything like I am, tonight, for instance, my children, of which I have 2, one has a concert, one had a piano lesson, same one. Another one had a lacrosse practice and a baseball game all at once, and I'm here. So I get it, I understand things get lost in the mix. The many different ways in which we provide communication, as much as you can provide the communication outlets for us, we would be happy to make it as clear as possible. We do send home a practice slip weekly that explains what the child has done, our students have done in their lesson. That lesson practice slip for me and Mr. Robertson has a place on the back in which the student is expected to record their weekly and daily minutes, and then have you, the parent or guardian of that child, sign and send back, signaling to us that you recognize the amount of effort that's being put in at home. I would encourage you that no matter what those minutes are, that you continue to sign that, because that's a communication to us that explains what you know and what we know, and so that we're all on the same page. If it's 250 minutes in a week and we see your signature, I champion that with our students. If we see 0 minutes with your signature, I ask them what happened, but know that you already have probably talked to them about why haven't you touched your instrument in a week. Most important to us is the enjoyment factor that your child will have when playing an instrument, and it's no secret that success breeds enjoyment. So if a student feels successful, I firmly believe that they'll find enjoyment in what they're doing. And the only way to become successful, unfortunately, is to do it a lot, as we all know. So that's where that practicing piece comes in. And we're not, I wouldn't say Mr. Robertson nor I are particularly mean, or Mr. Lonergan are particularly mean or cranky about it, but we do want to make sure that they feel successful. And for many, that means playing their instrument frequently. And that's part of their responsibilities as well. You'll notice on the report card next year is 4th graders, and in the future is 5th graders and beyond. The band, and instrumental strings is a part of that report card. We grade on a 1, 2, 3, 4 basis, just like all other academics do, and we are allowed to give comments, and we will. So you can always check your child's success on that report card, just like with any other course that they're taking or any other part in their school day is reported upon. I've taken up a new hobby of trying to become handy, and I'm not at all. So just like, there are many different types of tools that do lots of different things, there are many different instruments that do lots of different things, and it's not just a violin, another violin, a bigger violin, and the largest violin. They actually have specific ways in which to be taught and to be learned and to be played. And we talk at great length with your children about what the differences are and how they're played. I'm going to let Mr. Robertson talk a little bit about how and why we recruited the way we did, why maybe some of your children didn't receive their first choice instrument, but why that is not such a bad thing, although it may seem to be at this point. Mr. Robertson?
Thank you, sir. We did everything possible to give your child his or first choice of instrument. We know how important that is to them, but we also know that when they're 8 and 9 years old, that their minds change frequently, and so we're hopeful that not getting a first choice ends up being okay. The reason why we do this is because we want your children to experience what it's like to be in a well-balanced group. And when Evan spoke earlier this evening, he mentioned his sports, his soccer, and Mr. Poissant mentioned how so many of our students are involved in sports of our high school, not just the younger, but the high school orchestras, concert band, wind ensemble. They are involved in a lot of sports. And just like a sports team, our teams need all the positions filled. If you don't have, if you have 6 goaltenders and 1 person on defense, it's not a successful team. If you don't have anyone who can properly strike the ball, but you have good defense, you're gonna have a lot of 0-0 games if you're lucky. And you need to fill these positions. Same with us. We need a certain amount of students playing cello and string bass in the orchestra to round out that bottom of the sound so that there's a good foundation of the sound. You don't want your child to be sitting in a rehearsal and thinking, something's missing, something just doesn't sound like the orchestras I've heard or the bands I've heard in the past. And at the other schools when I've gone to my older siblings' concerts, something's missing. We don't want anything to be missing. We need all of these positions filled. And so that's why in certain circumstances, we do have to ask students to move from a first choice to a second choice, just because we might have, for example, at Kegamine, we had 16 students select percussion, the drums as their first choice. If we gave all 16 of them percussion, that's all you would hear at the concert is wow, they have a really loud drum section, and some students, they're holding instruments, it looks like they're blowing, I can't tell. Those drums are really strong though. That's what it would be like. And so that's just one example, but that is why we end up having students do a second choice. And I will tell you, I would say, I don't know if Mr. Lonergan or Mr. Poissant have had similar success. I would say at least 90 or higher % of our students who get put on a second choice instrument are like, oh, great. And they never look back, and they never say, but I really wanted the percussion. They're like, well, this clarinet is pretty cool actually, and I guess that's why it was my second choice. Or, boy, you know, I really wanted the string bass, but they could only have so many students do string bass, and so I ended up on viola, and viola's really cool. I'm reading this new clef that no one else knows about, and wow, it's great. And so they just really embrace this second choice, and they embrace their role in balancing out the ensemble so that we do have good sounding, full sounding, with all the parts covered, orchestras and bands.
I hope many of you had the opportunity to visit our vendors that were on the stage prior to tonight's presentation. If not, they will be sticking around afterwards, and we invite you to come back up onto the stage and visit with them about the rental programs. Specific rental questions that you have about pricing, length of term, and beyond, you can discuss with each of them. Each rental program is unique and different, but we invited these folks here because they've been serving Grand Island for a while and giving our students a line of instruments that have been approved by us and appreciated and keep in good repair. We talk at great length within the first few lessons about proper care and maintenance of the students' instruments, and if the students follow a good proper care and maintenance plan that we instruct them upon, very rarely is repair work needed. However, some companies offer a rental repair program that we highly recommend investing in case accidents happen. I can't speak to exactly what each individual rental repair program entails, but I do know that in the past we've had students drop instruments that have caused what seemed like irreparable damage. They bring it to the rental company. They will not only repair it for the student, but give a loaner in the interim. I encourage you to talk with the rental companies about their rental programs or insurance programs if they have them, because even through our best of efforts, making sure and ensuring that students understand and learn how to take care of the instruments, accidents still happen. and we would highly encourage having that backup plan just in case it does. Specifically, a loaner instrument is really helpful so that a student is not without it, isn't missing an instrument for a week or 2 weeks or longer because it's in the repair shop. And if by chance you did not get an opportunity to visit, up on the screen here, we do have some QR codes for the websites for each of the rental companies. We invite you to go ahead and you can take a picture if you wanted to visit them now while you listen to me drone on. Feel free to do so. But again, these are all fantastic vendors. I would say for Monaco's and Allentown Music, specifically to strings, I would say Mr. Lonergan had found that they offer great, reasonable string rentals, as well as the other ones that are on the board as well. So feel free to visit those vendors tonight or by using the website as attached up there. I'll leave that for one more moment while I look ahead to what's next. Mr. Lonergan, please.
Just one quick note for our string parents about the string instruments come in different sizes for different size people. So a few of the band instruments do, but all of our strings do. So it's very important. I'll be going around to the classrooms this week and getting everybody sized up, and I'll be sending you that information. Most of our vendors here are really good about that too, and making sure that they get you the right size. But if a child's on the wrong size instrument, it can be very frustrating for them to play. It can slow down their progress, or it can make it so they can't play, and we don't want that. So, and then the other note, the one on the bottom there, just to avoid especially the Amazon. I listed on one of my string pages. There's a couple string specialty websites that have good supplies, and but for the rentals, you definitely want somebody local so they can fix it. For the other supplies, even some of this stuff on Amazon, you're even if it's cheap, you're not getting your money's worth. And so you want to make sure that you're getting quality product that is going to work for the students so they don't get frustrated and it doesn't hinder their progress.
I've seen it so many times, the parents, and trust me, I'm one of them. I'm one of these people. Why would I rent an instrument for $150 when I can just buy one online and keep it? Even if it breaks, I'll just buy another one. I'm telling you, please, 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 I beg of you not to go that route, because not only does it put the student without an instrument for the interim when the instrument is being replaced by you buying another one, they're not meant to be disposable. They're not, the old style cameras where you just throw them away when they're done. Instruments are highly mechanical and engineered to perfection so that your children not only sound the best but have the most enjoyable experience. And if you get something that is, very cheaply made, not only will the student be extraordinarily frustrated when it goes in disrepair, but they're going to be frustrated frequently because it goes in disrepair almost always. I've seen it a million times. So I would once again encourage you, as Mr. Lonergan did, to please reconsider before you go online and purchase something that seems like a great deal, because I promise you it is not 100%. It is not a good financial decision. There are some accessories that we do encourage you to purchase. Some are necessary and needed. As an example of that, reeds. If you are a reed instrument, that would include oboe, bassoon. I don't think there are any bassoons out there right now. Clarinet and saxophone. Those reeds are necessary in order to produce a sound on the instrument, and we have a very specific brand that we like to use. You can see them up here on the screen. For brass players, trumpets, trombones, tubas, and French horn, you will need valve oil, and for French horn specifically, rotor oil. There is a difference, and we would encourage you to please purchase the correct kind for your instrument, as it says up here on the screen. If you have any questions about what accessories to look for, please feel free to reach out at any time. We'd be happy to guide you. And all of the vendors here this evening know what our accessories are and what we like to have for each student. So we'd encourage you to, again, talk to them if you have any questions. Did you want to talk a little bit about that? Sure. Yeah.
String accessory is really just violin and viola. I recommend getting a shoulder rest that helps them hold the instrument up on their shoulder, and there's a couple recommended brands that I send out. That's another one. You just have to be careful that you're getting the correct size, because they come in different sizes for the different instruments, and they can help you out at the local stores as well, fitting something that you get the right size for it. Everything else is, there's optional supplies that I list on there. It can be a good opportunity to personalize the instrument or something special in their case if they want. I've got sometimes the shoulder rest comes in different colors, which you don't want, and they have these in the band too, of a green trumpet or a pink violin. Those aren't very good. But if you want a pink shoulder rest or one of the other supplies that you can find those online in different colors and different personalizations, and that can be a fun way to get some personalization into the student's instrument.
As I said before, it is part of our curriculum to teach maintenance and repair, like I said previously. We'll make sure that your students and your children know how to oil the valves, know how to use the reed properly, know how to take care of those reeds. If you're one of the lucky recipients of oboe, you'll find out very quickly just how expensive those reeds can be. We take great care to make sure that the students know how to take care of them, and even have some extra, not so expensive, probably laying around the house supplies that will help to take care of those reeds as well. We will make sure that your children know what they're supposed to do in order to keep the instrument in peak playing condition, and if they follow those things, then repair will be avoided. Our summer lesson program, you may have heard, is quite popular. It fills up very quickly, and we do schedule on a first paid, first scheduled basis. Attached here on page 3 is information about our summer lesson program. What you receive for your money is 5 private lessons, one-on-one with a teacher of your choice, found at the bottom of that page and soon to be up on this screen. You select a person, simply scan the QR code, or in digital format in the future, an email will come out with a link, direct link to each teacher's registration page. Register through the registration page, send Venmo or a check into school, and then we will send out a follow-up email with our schedule of available days and times. If nothing is available, or if there are things that just don't work out, of course we will refund your money if there is any conflict that it will not work. Generally speaking, if you're questioning, we go on vacation, we have summer sports camp, this or that, things that are going to conflict with the scheduled time, generally speaking, I like to say if students can make 3 out of the 5 lessons, we can work to reschedule the other 2 in order to accommodate and make sure that you get all 5 that you are paying for. If you're missing any more than 2 lessons, if you're making 2 or less, I would recommend perhaps just waiting until the fall, because when we're trying to squeeze 3 lessons into 1 week's worth of time, or 4 lessons into 2 weeks worth of time, it just gets a little tight, especially for the beginners specifically, just because we want some time for the student to develop the fundamentals and skills that we're teaching them from lesson to lesson. Every so often it works out great to have them back to back, or maybe we just say, you know what, I have a half an hour after your son or daughter's lesson time free, let's tack on a half an hour, go to an hour lesson for that day, and that's like 2 lessons in 1. If you have questions about that, I or Mr. Robertson or Mr. Lonergan would be happy to answer them. It's important to note also that we do have a 6th week built in the beginning of August for any parents and families that are unable to reschedule in the previous 5 weeks for a makeup date. We do hold 1 extra week just specifically for makeups in which we are available. As you can see, the lessons are held at Trinity United Methodist Church. That's in the new church in the back of the parking lot, behind the Step in Time Dance Studio, if you've ever been out that way, next to the candy store, I think if it's still there, or chocolate shop, I forget what it's called, close to the 3-way entrance. Right in the center of the island, so it works out beautifully for all families from north, south, and central. We're generally there, Mr. Robertson and myself and Mr. Lonergan are there on our days from 8 in the morning until 5 in the evening. Mr. Robertson is crazy and goes even earlier, from 7 in the morning until 5 in the evening on some days, and we do our best to accommodate everybody. We want your children to participate if you are willing to have them participate in the summer, and in most cases, kids are so excited to start that in a way, it's just great to keep them quiet about it, that you can get them started sooner rather than having to wait to September, and their anxiousness can be put to rest. Just a suggestion, everybody, and if not, please understand that our fall beginners do just as well. We ensure that the fall beginners get a great start. It just so happens that our fall beginners and lessons during the school year are in group format. So the one-on-one individual attention isn't as much as it would be during the summertime, which is why so many families find that summer program to be so beneficial. But please understand, if you cannot do the summer lesson program, your child is absolutely going to do a fantastic job starting in the fall, and we'll just get them started then. It is important also to differentiate, I know I would forget this, that if your child does start in the summertime, we specifically give summer lesson groups to summer students as a group as compared to the fall beginners as a group, so that we're not commingling in that regard, so that we're not, again, waiting for the fall beginners to catch up to the summer beginners, or not leaving the fall beginners sitting and waiting while we talk to the summer beginners and try to keep them moving along further. So it's important to realize that no matter where you start, they'll be grouped alike so that they're not waiting for one another or sitting around doing nothing while somebody else is being taught. Anything else you'd like to talk about that? And once again, you can find all this information in the third page of your packet. You can scan the QR code. It'll take you right to the registration page. Venmo information is at the bottom of the registration page, and you can figure out, if you have Venmo, how to send it. If you'd rather do personal check, that is perfectly fine too. And please understand that though this sounds like a hard sell, we are 100% confident that your sons and daughters are able to start in the fall and be just as successful. They would just be, 5 lessons behind from the students who start in the summertime. So please understand that this is not necessary, nor is it in any way mandatory that your children start in the summertime. It's just an option, and we know how eager they are, and we'd love to have them start if they're willing and interested, and you are too. Lastly, before we conclude this evening, this is the most important thing. Please and thank you. If you have not already done so, I'd invite you to please scan the QR code that's up on the board here, or go to the back page of your packet, which has the instrumental music registration form. This gives us an official, yes, we're starting. You can inform us when your child is starting, whether it's summer, fall, or not at all. If you've changed your mind after you've heard my boring voice go on and drone on for a while, we completely understand. I just please ask that you still fill in the form and send it in either tomorrow with your son and daughter to school, or you can bring it right on up to us here at the stage. I'm going to be sticking around here, and Mr. Robertson too, and Mr. Lonergan too, for about another 15 minutes. I'd invite anybody who has an instrument that you'd like for us to check, or anything you'd like to discuss with us, to come on over here. I'm going to have Mr. Robertson go over here in this aisle. I'll stand in this aisle so that we can form a line, and Mr. Lonergan will be over here by the clock. Ladies and gentlemen, I cannot say thank you enough for coming this evening. It already shows your great investment into your students and your children and into our program, and I look forward to meeting and working with all of you, as does Mr. Lonergan and Mr. Robertson. We have wonderful things planned for next year. Have a great night, everybody. Thank you.